Now that was a good movie. Okay, now I just want to start off by saying I haven't reviewed a movie in a long time, and that's because I haven't been inspired by anything I've seen. Today I watched the Amityville Murders, which you can find, I believe, on Netflix. Um, this movie, I'm not saying it is, but it had the potential to be one of the best, if not the best, Amityville movies in the whole entire series. And that's a lot of fucking movies, man. Most of them suck. Okay, we got the first two are probably the only good ones, really. Now here's the thing: this movie, pretty much was exactly the same story as Amityville 2: The Possession, but the whole difference is that this one is more, I don't want to say based in reality, but it's a lot less of a horror movie and more of a drama. And I'm gonna explain. First off, the dad from the first movie, I'm sorry, I forget his name, or the second movie, reappears in this movie as the grandfather, and the guy's sister, in the second movie, also appears in this movie as the mother. So there's kind of a cool like little nod to the fans there. Now, this movie's about the Defeo family. Now, Amityville 2 was also about the Defeo family, but they weren't called the Defeo family. And same story, only this one, it's the real guy, Ronald Defeo Jr. People call him Butch. Murder his family before. I would dare say it's probably the only truthful part about the entire Amityville folklore is that he kills his family in the house. Now, I'm going to explain where they went right, where they went wrong here. Um, First about the second movie, you can't really beat the incest subplot because it's just so disturbing and hilarious at the same time. So that part wasn't in this one, which is kind of a bummer. By the way, there will be spoilers. So, anyways, when it comes to the writing in um, this movie was written really well and really also kind of disappoints. The reason I say that is because the original concept I would have went with was we get to see what Ronald Jr. sees, like Butch, but I don't think that anyone else in the house should see it. I think it should only affect him, and that's because he is like a drug addict and things like that, and it would add to the psychosis, like of so you wouldn't know if he's like actually seeing this shit or if it's just a drug hallucination or like lack of sleep because he's done drugs for so long that he's hallucinating, things like that, and he's gaining psychosis, right? So I think if they would have went that route, it would have been a lot more interesting because some people in the family see some things like his sister see like notices things about the house and things like that. So that was kind of a bummer to me because I think they could have really went with that and that would have made it one of the best in the series, which I think is partially what they were trying to do. But then it doesn't really work out that way, which kind of sucks. But anyway, as for the writing here, it's really well done. I think with a bigger budget, they would have been able to do a lot more with this writing, and I think they did good with what they had. To be totally honest, um, so we'll move on to the direction. It's fine. It's not quite as good as Amityville 2: The Possession, which movie was directed so well. That movie was so scary. See, this movie didn't give you the same feeling of scares as that one did, but it was still a really interesting show and really easy to watch. Really easy to watch. And but that's sort of the problem with me in an Amityville movie. That's another downfall it has is that I expect to be pretty scared because the first two movies scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Even some of the sequels did, but I was pretty young. So, anyways, so it doesn't have the scare factor, but the direction's still fine for what it is. It's nothing that special. The one thing I will say is they don't showcase the house very much because usually in these movies the house is like a looming presence, and it's almost a character in itself. In this one, it sort of is, but not as effective as in other movies. A lot of the shots of the house in this are CGI, if not all of them. So that's sort of a problem too. I don't think all of them are, but you know what I mean. So anyway, yeah, music. It was effective. Some parts of it actually kind of reminded me of some of the music from The Shining. It did build some dread in certain parts of the movie. It wasn't bad. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's okay. Nothing compared to part two. I think part two and part one with the nah, which they do have the original theme at the very end of the movie. They do show Kathy and George moving in, and it would be a great way to start off. I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to start it off so you could watch this first and then carry on to the original trilogy, which is kind of cool. Anyway, and then so, and then we got acting here, and acting is all around pretty fucking amazing. Everybody's got a New York accent, which is the first time I'm pretty sure I've ever seen that in one of these movies. And the dad's such a dick, man. He's such a dick, just like in part two, only worse. Like, he's way worse. Like, he's like a despicable human being. Like, I respect sort of part of his points of view, but he follows through with them way too harshly, to the point where it's like, dude, you're totally wrong here. So the acting was good here. Now, comparable to part two, the acting in part two is pretty amazing too, but there was some campy shit. I'm talking about that part in the movie where the kid originally is possessed. I don't remember his name, but he has like this bubble on his neck or something, and he goes, ah, and lightning strikes, and it's just so stupid. But I mean, that's like the most of the acting in that was pretty fucking solid too. It was pretty funny when his sister finds out he's been sniffing her panties or whatever. That was pretty fucking good. Anyway, so acting here, it was pretty good. I really enjoyed the entire cast. Honestly, it was really well done. Now, if we're going on to special effects. Here's where I, of course, have a problem, mainly because it's CGI. This is where this movie's complete downfall is, and it's not a big deal. It doesn't take away from the story that much, because they don't do much with it, which I'm happy about. They didn't try to do too much with it, but some of the effects here are pretty lame. Like the fucking demons, they show them, and they're like black, shadow people basically, and that is like to me the most boring thing. Like, and as a hallucination for a guy that with psychosis, I feel like that would work more, but they didn't go for that. So I would have expected a little more, if not at all. Show them. Don't show them at all. Why would you even have to, right? I mean, it would almost add to the tension, because they don't really, in Amityville 2, what you don't see is what scares you, especially when it's following the kid around the house and stuff. That's creepy, man. That's creepy shit, especially with that music. And then anyways, so, yeah, so the effects here aren't very good, very CG, and they don't do much, which I'm happy about. I did notice something. They named their little boy Jody, which again, Jody's the pig in the original movie. So I don't know if maybe they're like, okay, they go, I have no fucking clue what they were doing with that. I'm trying to think of anything that maybe only fans would know. They did do a couple fan service things here, just a few things, but I think they did, and they even did, I think, a little tribute to the Next Generation movie, which I'm not sure which part of the Amityville series that is. I think it might be part 5 or 4. But yeah, anyway, so they did a little tribute to that, I think, during the dinner scene, or one of them. All in all, guys, what can I say about this movie? It's not perfect, but it could have been. It could have been one of the best, and I still think it is. I think it had the potential to be probably close to the second and first movie, like it may be in between. But I'm going to sit there and say, you know what? It's probably the third best Amityville movie, and mainly because at the very ending, they kind of take it seriously. It's a tragedy. This family died. They really tried to play up the sadness about that, which I think is the first time that's ever happened. So that's like a really, really great little thing that they gave. They gave a shit about what they were doing here, and I think it really shows. Personally, yes, I'd say third best Amityville movie of the trilogy. First one I would rank like a fucking 9 out of 10. Second one probably the same. This one I'm probably gonna go for like a 7.5. It's really good. Definitely worth a watch. Go check it out on Netflix if you have Netflix. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, click, subscribe, grab that big old dick, slap it on that like button. Thank you. Peace out.